Hey everyone, welcome to Reverse Homesteading. If you've been watching my channel, you would have heard about my seedlings being a bit leggy, specifically my tomatoes and a little bit of my bok choy seedlings that were crazy leggy. Some have even fallen over, they were so leggy, and they were pale, so obviously not enough sun. And we were keeping the security doors shut during the day because it gives us a bit, well, obviously more security, but it gives us a little bit of privacy from our neighbours. And I've just realised this. I'm thinking, well, it won't be long. I might just leave the light there for my seedlings and keep the fan going, which is strengthening their little stems so they'll bulk out a little bit. And hopefully it won't be too late for some of these, at least they're not too many up. And the sun's just come out for this video. It was cloudy before, so there'll be happy little Vegemites today. And the other thing I was going to show you was what I was doing for the little bok choys. It's a bit precarious, I should probably find a better way of doing it. Is just putting a little bit of crack up for the fan breeze to come through for the little bok choys, because they are so leggy. They really need that fan and they need the sunlight, and with their little covers on so they don't dry out, they don't get the fan, do they? So just balancing the little lip of the cover on the tags and on that one in the end, so it's not ideal, but it works a little bit. I've got more little snacking peppers up as well, so we will have snacking peppers this summer. That's cool. Just a little note on the way that I protect my plants from frost and bugs, and yeah, provide a way of putting a net or some sort of cover over the bed. I mean, these would just make do until we could make proper frames. I just wanted to show you what happens in the windy weather. It makes a bigger hole, of course, because it waves around in the wind, especially if it has a frost cover on it, which catches the wind. Sometimes I put a rock in there because the soil mix is so good and loose. It just keeps happening. So I've just been shoring them up like that. My mulch is pretty big, so I can sometimes jam a stick in there and that works. But that is, at the very best, a band-aid measure. So it'll stop it for a day or two, but when we get really windy weather, it'll still be a problem. I have often just used bamboo poles the whole way through the garden. What we're thinking of doing at the moment is possibly something that's welded. What we're thinking was either metal framing along the edges so that you could put a net over, which wouldn't be as pretty, of course, or you could do a frame and then drop strings down for the tomatoes. There are a bunch of other options. In Australia we don't have cattle panels. Apparently they're not in the UK either, but that's our thought process at the moment, to get something a bit more sturdy. Sneak peek at my nectarine blossoms as we go past. So cool. Love blossoms. I used to have wallpaper with blossoms on it like this when I was a child. I chose it in the shop. Must have known something, huh? I was quite young. Anyway, this is my pink lady apple. It came in, I think, the end of July with leaves on it, green leaves. So since then they've been buffeted by the frosts and this and that. I started out covering it for frost. I was worried about the growth tip, which has since been nipped off or fallen off with frost or something. I'm sure it'll be fine. And some leaves have fallen off which went yellow and fell off, but what I was hoping I would get replacing those leaves was little buds, and I did. So someone in the comments was going to do leaf stripping on a plant they got in winter that still had leaves on it from the grower, and I'd be interested to see how that goes. And I'm thinking about that for next time, because what I was worried about is that they may not come back, because the little bit of research that I did, so the plant may not produce the hormone that tells it to produce new buds if you strip the leaves off in winter. I'm guessing that's what plants are designed to do, but these are more recently off. They fell off more recently up the top here, and they have smaller buds, but they're still there, so they're ready to go. What I want to do today is cut this out. There's nothing in the bottom, So I cut the base of that pot out so that the roots could get down and it could assimilate somewhat in the soil, because you shouldn't plant a tree that's supposed to be dormant in winter if it's still got leaves, because it's confused. So you sort of have to decide which way you're going to do it. You're going to strip the leaves off, are you going to keep it under frost covers, are you going to keep it in a pot all of summer and then plant it in winter the following year, which is what I didn't want to do because this pot is quite narrow and summer's here. I would need to sit it in water, and I don't know if apples like that. So yeah, I was afraid it was going to dry out too much over summer. So we're going to dig away the outside here very carefully, and then hopefully cut the sides of the pot in probably 2 or 3 areas and gently lift it off the top so that any roots that have crept out the bottom are not going to be too disturbed, and then we'll water it back in and hopefully it'll be fine. Well, that's the pink lady apple sorted out, happily in the ground. There were roots enough to keep it standing up there while I was doing that, as you could see. They were same kind of roots that you saw on the side. I probably should have stopped the video and shown you the roots down the bottom, but just a couple of wispy ones were sticking out and they'd been sort of disrupted. But yeah, same size as the ones that were on the pot. But I'm happy about that. Not sure what I'll do next time I see a fruit tree that's not dormant with green leaves on it in winter in the shop. I will think about that when I see it. But that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having fun in your garden. I'll see you next time.